Building tables, not begging for seats, the revolutionary economic shift among Black women in 2025. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm truly honored to stand before you to share insights from my recent interview with Jamie Sherman, whose groundbreaking research has not just illuminated economic trends, it has fundamentally transformed how we understand resilience, innovation, and justice in America today. Jamie's relentless dedication to documenting the experiences of Black women in our economy has sparked conversations in boardrooms, policy circles, and community centers nationwide. Her work isn't just academic, it's revolutionary, challenging the very frameworks through which we understand success, opportunity, and power. What I'm about to share with you comes directly from our profound conversation on the Soft Girl Era podcast, where Jamie revealed an economic contradiction so striking, so profound, that it demands we reconsider everything we think we know about progress in America. We've all seen the headlines celebrating America's entrepreneurial renaissance, haven't we? The business formation statistics flash across our screens. The success stories fill our social media feeds. But beneath these broad strokes lies a more complex, more troubling, and ultimately more inspiring reality. In 2025, we are witnessing something that defies conventional economic understanding. Black women are experiencing the largest job losses in the traditional workforce while simultaneously becoming the most powerful drivers of new business creation in America. This duality, this paradox, reveals both the persistent discrimination in our systems and the extraordinary resilience that has always characterized Black women's economic journey in this country. Let me share some numbers that might shock you. In April 2025 alone, Black women lost 106,000 jobs despite overall national employment gains. Think about that for a moment. While the economy was growing, while opportunities were expanding for most Americans, Black women were being pushed out. Their unemployment rate jumped to 6.1% from 5.1% in just 1 month, while the national unemployment rate remained steady at 4.2%. This isn't a statistical anomaly. It's not a temporary fluctuation. It's a pattern that speaks to the fragility of progress, to the persistence of discrimination, to the ways in which even accomplished, educated, experienced Black women remain vulnerable in traditional workplace settings. But that's only half the story. At this very same moment, Black women are rewriting the entrepreneurial playbook in America. They're helping drive women's share of new business creation to nearly 50% by 2024, up from just 29% in 2019. They're not just participating in the entrepreneurial economy, they're transforming it, reimagining it, revolutionizing it. As Jamie so powerfully stated during our interview, when traditional doors close, Black women don't just knock louder, they build entirely new buildings. They don't just find new paths, they create new destinations. This phenomenon raises a critical question that should challenge everyone in this room. Is the surge in Black women's entrepreneurship purely a positive sign of progress? Or is it partially a forced adaptation to systematic exclusion from traditional employment? The answer, as with most complex social phenomena, is both. And that ambiguity demands our attention. Let's examine what's happening more closely. The Bureau of Labor Statistics' April 2025 employment report revealed that Black women lost 106,000 jobs, despite the overall economy adding 175,000 jobs in the same period. Their unemployment rate jumped significantly while the national rate held steady. When Jamie and her team investigated further, they discovered several troubling patterns. There have been substantial reductions in federal jobs, which have historically been stable employers for Black women. We're also seeing the devastating effects of widespread rollbacks of DEI initiatives across major industries of initiatives that were already inadequate, but at least represented some commitment to equity. These aren't abstract statistics, they represent real women with real dreams, real responsibilities, real contributions to make. Women like Tasha Williams, a communications director with 15 years of experience, who was laid off when her company restructured, eliminating the diversity initiatives she led. Or Dr. Kimberly Johnson, whose research position at a prestigious university was eliminated due to budget cuts that somehow affected the departments with the most diverse staffing. These women had built careers, supported families, and contributed to their communities, suddenly finding themselves pushed out of spaces they had worked so hard to enter. The emotional toll is immeasurable. The economic impact is devastating. The message sent about who belongs and who doesn't is unmistakable. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Gusto's 2025 New Business Formation Report documents the remarkable rise of women, particularly Black women, in entrepreneurship. By 2024, women were starting nearly half of all new businesses in America, representing a 69% increase in their share since 2019. Even more striking, Black owned businesses were more likely to be started by women than by men, showing particular strength in community services and personal assistance sectors. In community services, 68% of Black owned businesses were started by women. In personal assistance sectors, that number was 58%. This entrepreneurial shift has been building since the pandemic, with women increasingly seeking opportunities for economic independence and flexibility. The trend is reshaping the American entrepreneurial landscape and creating new economic opportunities for communities that have faced barriers in traditional employment. Jamie introduced me to Aaliyah Morris, who, after 12 years in corporate marketing, was passed over for promotion 3 times, despite consistently outperforming her colleagues. Rather than continue fighting for recognition, she launched her own digital marketing agency focused on helping small minority owned businesses. 2 years later, she employs 7 people, all women of color, and generates twice her former corporate salary. I'm not just building a business, Aaliyah told Jamie. I'm building a world where we don't have to beg for what we've earned. This success comes despite significant obstacles. Despite being the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States, Black women face persistent systemic barriers in accessing capital for their businesses. Traditional financial institutions continue to deny loans at higher rates to Black women entrepreneurs compared to other demographic groups. A Black woman with an identical business plan, credit score, and collateral as a white male counterpart is 2.5 times more likely to be denied a traditional bank loan. This isn't speculation, it's documented reality. This is where community development financial institutions, or CDFIs, have emerged as critical alternative lending sources. With improved access to capital through these institutions, Black and African American women owned businesses saw average revenues increase by an impressive 32.7% between 2019 and 2023. Jamie shared the story of Denise Porter, whose natural hair care product line was rejected by 14 traditional banks before a CDFI provided the initial funding. Today, her products are in major retail chains nationwide. She employs 23 people in her community, and she mentors other Black women and entrepreneurs. The historical exclusion of Black women from traditional financing has led to the development of these alternative capital sources and support networks. This growth in revenue demonstrates the economic potential being unlocked when Black women entrepreneurs receive adequate financial support. The success of these businesses is creating jobs, building wealth in Black communities, and demonstrating the untapped economic potential of Black women entrepreneurs. So, what are we to make of this dual reality? How do we reconcile the troubling job losses with the inspiring entrepreneurial success? I believe this duality reveals something profound about both our economic system and the extraordinary resilience of Black women. First, it exposes the persistent structural inequities in our traditional employment systems. The disproportionate job losses among Black women, even during periods of overall economic growth, highlight how vulnerable even established career paths remain for marginalized groups. Second, it demonstrates remarkable adaptability and determination of Black women who, when faced with systemic barriers, create alternative paths to economic security and success. Third, and perhaps most importantly, it challenges our conventional understanding of economic progress. We often measure advancement through a single lens, either employment statistics or business formation numbers. But this dual reality shows us that true economic justice requires both secure employment opportunities and entrepreneurial pathways. As Jamie powerfully stated during our interview, the question isn't whether Black women should be employees or entrepreneurs. The question is whether our economic systems will finally recognize and support their value in both roles. This brings me to what I believe is the most important insight from my conversation with Jamie. The surge in Black women's entrepreneurship represents not just economic activity, but a form of resistance and self determination. It's not merely a response to exclusion, it's an assertion of vision, capability, and power. When Black women create businesses, they're not just seeking profit, they're often building enterprises that address community needs, create jobs for others facing discrimination, and model new ways of operating that prioritize both financial success and human well being. As one entrepreneur Jamie interviewed put it, I didn't just want to make money, I wanted to make meaning for myself, my family, and my community. I wanted to build something that would still be standing when my great grandchildren are grown. The Black women entrepreneurs driving this economic revolution are demonstrating that business can be both profitable and purposeful, both successful and sustainable. They're showing us that softness, defined as care, connection, and community, isn't weakness, but rather a powerful alternative to extractive economic models. As we witness this powerful shift where Black women are increasingly creating their own tables rather than seeking seats at existing ones, I want to challenge everyone in this room with a question that should haunt us. Why must Black women build their own economic structures to thrive? Why must they create parallel systems rather than succeeding in the mainstream economy we all claim to believe in? The answer is uncomfortable, but unavoidable. Our current systems were never designed for their success. The playing field isn't just uneven, it's fundamentally broken. This reality demands action from all of us, Not charity, not performative allyship, but profound systemic change. We need to simultaneously support Black women entrepreneurs while also addressing the systemic barriers causing job losses in traditional employment. True economic empowerment requires both pathways to thrive. We need to fight discrimination in hiring and promotion while also expanding access to capital for entrepreneurs. We need to strengthen worker protections while also simplifying the regulatory burdens on small businesses. We need to value both the employee and the entrepreneur. I challenge each of you today. What specific concrete action will you take this week to either support a Black woman owned business or advocate for more equitable employment practices in your workplace? Will you commit to directing a portion of your personal or business spending to Black women owned enterprises? Will you examine hiring and promotion patterns in your organization? Will you advocate for policy changes that address both employment discrimination and entrepreneurial barriers? The economic duality Black women are experiencing in 2025 isn't just their story, it's America's story. It reveals both our persistent failures and our extraordinary potential. It challenges us to create an economy that truly works for everyone, that offers multiple pathways to security and success, that values all contributions and all contributors. In the words of one of the entrepreneurs Jamie profiled, I'm not just building a business, I'm building a blueprint for what's possible. That's the invitation before all of us today, to recognize both the challenges and the opportunities in this moment to support Black women's economic advancement in all its forms and to work together toward an economy that truly reflects our highest values. The revolution is already happening. The question is, which side of history will you be on?